Namaskar, good evening, Sat Sri Akal, Adab. Today is Krishna's birthday. And who would you find whom one doesn't love? Krishna is loved by one and all. And the more we speak about Krishna, the more we enlighten ourselves. And at Motherhood Club, we are always constantly in search of some unique conversation to be put forward for you all. We have just celebrated Teachers' Day on 5th September. And today we celebrate Krishna's birthday. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. कृष्ण जो इस समूचे जगत के गुरु हैं. Today we have invited my very good friend Sangeeta Venkatesh. She's an author, she's an environmentalist, she is a top corporate honcho, but for me, she's my Sakhi, Sangeeta. And Sangeeta is helping me discover myself. She is helping many others like me to discover what religion is all about. She talks to us regularly about Vedas, about Gita, and about ways of life. So I present to you my very dear friend, Sangeeta Venkatesh, dear audiences. Sangeeta, we all know that Krishna is the universal source. He is the ultimate guru that of our universe. But would like to know from you who gave him the name of Jagat Guru. गुरु के भी गुरु कौन, जो कृष्ण के अंदर जो क्वालिटीज थी कि वो दोस्तों के दोस्त थे, कि वो जब मोह की बात आती थी तो उनकी आसक्ति थी राधा में, उनकी आसक्ति थी रुक्मिणी में, उनकी आसक्ति अपने दोस्तों में. ही वॉज देयर फॉर द्रौपदी एंड he was the one who gave the gyan to Arjun that don't think of them as your family members. This is war. Sangeeta, I will not take much time because I don't want to keep you away from our beautiful audiences who have started joining in. So let's start about Krishna and his guru.
Definitely. Thank you, Ila, for that very warm welcome. And thank you, Motherhood Club. And before we start the conversation today, I must congratulate both Ekta and you for creating this platform that discusses such varied subjects and that are of immense value to the audience. So, really, congratulations for that. And I want to thank all of you who are joining in, attending. मैं आप सभी को धन्यवाद देना चाहती हूँ कि आप इसमें इस कॉन्वर्सेशन वार्तालाप में आप भाग ले रहे हैं और आपसे अंत तक बने रहने का अनुरोध करूंगी मैं.
बहुत सुंदर बात.
Yeah. So this year is a special year when Teachers' Day and Janamashtami fall so close to each other. And जो मैं बात करने वाली हूँ, शायद it's not going to be anything new, right? And perhaps आप सब audience में आपको काफी जानकारी होगी, and some of you may know much more than what I'm going to speak about in this 20, 25, 30 minutes that have been given. But an occasion like Janamashtami, Krishna Janamashtami, gives us all a chance. एक अवसर मिलता है हर साल कि we go back and review, relearn, revise, refreshing, the teachings of the Jagat Guru.
Absolutely.
So before we start, I just want to begin today's conversation with the first two lines of Krishnashtakam, of which Ila, you did say one line. So it is like this. वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. So, what does it mean? I salute the Jagat Guru, the teacher of this whole wide world, the universe, not just the one universe, the several multiverses. He who was the son of Vasudeva, one who vanquished the demons Kamsa and Chanura, and the same person who gave Mata Devaki supreme joy. So, to this Jagat Guru, I bow down in all humility. So, this talk may meander, a bit, but just like how we make a garland of various species of flowers, जैसे हम अलग अलग विभिन्न प्रकार के फूलों से एक हार बनाते हैं और एक हम उन्हें एक साथ बांध कर हम भगवान कृष्ण के चरणों को अर्पित करेंगे.
जी.
And that will be our endeavor. So there'll be bits and pieces from everywhere, but we will all bring it together just like a garland and offer it to the feet of Lord Krishna. So Gokulashtami और कृष्ण जन्माष्टमी, जैसे हीला आपने बोला, हम सभी के लिए बहुत ही एक विशेष त्योहार है. एंड ये वो दिन है जब भगवान कृष्ण पृथ्वी पर अवतरित हुए. You cannot say he was born, right?
Yes.
Because there is no birth or death for the Supreme Being. He is Vishnu, right? What is the meaning of Vishnu? Vishnu means one who pervades everything, every sentient and insentient being. मतलब जिसमें चेतना हो या ना हो. It could be a stone, it could be a tree, it could be a man, woman. He is there, omniscient. He is there everywhere. Vishnu is the one who has no birth, and he existed even before time.
Yes.
So, jab Kal, that itself was not there, time was not there, and he existed. He created time. So, it can be very mind boggling. But one needs to really sit down, meditate, and ponder over all these questions to get closer to the Supreme. लेकिन उन्होंने अधर्म का नाश करने के लिए ही टुक बर्थ, उन्होंने जन्म लेना चुना और हमें यहाँ पर पृथ्वी पर आकर हमें धर्म के बारे में सिखाया. एंड देयरफॉर देयर ऑन एवरी ईयर, हर साल रोहिणी नक्षत्र अष्टमी तिथि के दिन हमें ये अवसर मिलता है कि हम वापस जाके हम उनके ज्ञान के बारे में सोचे, and we ponder over his teachings. And इस beautiful, इनके इतने खूबसूरत अवतार को we should celebrate,
Yes.
right? So इसलिए तो ना सब लोग 56 भोग भी बनाकर बनाकर उनका to offer it, and they want to feel the pleasure. But if you cannot make 56 delicacies, आप चिंता मत कीजिए. Why? Because the Supreme Being himself has said in the Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yo me bhaktya prayachati Tadaham Bhakti Yupahritam Ashnami Prayatatmaha, which means जो भी, whoever, any devotee who offers me even a leaf, patta, flower, phool, fruit, phal, or even water, jal, I will partake of it with such joy because it is offered to me with love. So that is the beauty of this avatar. You give him anything with love, he will accept it. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
When he could
So
have all the riches in the world, when he was the ruler of Dwarka, still he chose to accept Sudama's rice, raw
exactly,
rice.
exactly. In fact, as bhog, if you can't give anything, just that poha, with little milk and sugar, you give him that, and it's equivalent to your chappan bhog.
Yes,
So Krishna was born, just now we said, on Ashtami Tithi, Rohini Nakshatra, and Shukacharya or Shri Suka, the great rishi, he describes his advent onto earth, Prithvi ke aane par, he describes it. I will say it in English and ईला आप मुझे बाद में हिंदी में आप
बिल्कुल,
ट्रांसलेट करेंगे.
बिल्कुल.
So it is beautifully written in the Bhagavatam. Now came the most delightful hour when the star of Rohini was at the ascendant on the Ashtami Tithi. The clouds cleared and the firmament was marked with multitudes of shining stars. A soft and fragrant breeze blew. The sacred fires of the twice born that had been extinguished due to Kamsa's persecution burst into flames. When that birthless lord was about to be born, kettle drums sounded in heavens. When midnight enveloped, and when people's prayers for his descent began, Lord Vishnu manifested himself in his entirety through Devaki. Vasudeva beheld that extraordinary boy with lotus eyes, endowed with four arms, wielding a conch, a mace, a discus, with the mark of Srivatsa on the chest, with the Kaustubha gem shining on his neck. Devaki and Vasudeva, who were hitherto afraid of Kamsa, now bore a bright smile. And this is how Shukacharya describes how Krishna came onto the earth. Go ahead,
मैं
Ila.
मैं इसको हिंदी में आपको वो इसकी जिस्ट बताती हूँ. अब सबसे ज़्यादा आनंद वाला समय आया जब अष्टमी की तिथि थी और रोहिणी का तारा आसमान में जगमगा रहा था. बादल एकदम साफ हो गए और आकाश बहुत सारे अनगिनत चमकीले तारों से भर गया. एक खुशबू वाली एक सुगंधित वायु बहने लगी. एक हवा में अचानक से एक खुशबू सी आई और कंस के उत्पीड़न के कारण जो द्विज द्विजें जो बुझी हुई थी, अचानक से वहां पे रोशनी फैल गई, प्रकाश फैल गया. ऐसा लगा जैसे दीप जगमगाने लगे. और जब उस अजन्मे भगवान का जन्म होने वाला था, तो अचानक ही आसमान से, आकाश से ढोल नगाड़ों के बजने की आवाज आने लगी. जब आधी रात हुई और उनके अवतरण के लिए असंख्य प्रार्थनाएं शुरू हुई, तो भगवान विष्णु माँ देवकी के गर्भ से अपनी संपूर्णता में प्रकट हुए. वासुदेव ने इस बालक को देखा. यह बालक कमल जैसे सुंदर नैनों वाला था, जो शंख गदा चक्र धारण करने वाली चारों भुजाओं से संपन्न था. उसकी छाती पर श्रीवत्स का चिन्ह था और उसके गले में कौस्तुभ मणि चमक रही थी. अब तक कंस से डरा करने वाले देवकी और वासुदेव अब मुस्कुरा रहे थे, अपनी पूरी उज्ज्वलता से मुस्कुरा रहे थे और धन्यवाद दे रहे थे ऊपर वाले को, ईश्वर को। जय श्री कृष्ण।
Thank you, Ila. So beautifully expressed. So we all know about his Leelas, Krishna's Leelas, and how he killed Kamsa, all before he was 16 years old. और उसके बाद उन्होंने अपने नाना उग्रसेन को रिहा कर दिया। उन्होंने यदु, वृष्णि, मधु, अंधलक आदि विभिन्न कुलों के जो एग्जाइल्ड या निर्वासित राजकुमारों को वापस बुलाया, एंड ही गेव ऑल देयर फॉर्च्यून्स बैक टू देम। फिर कृष्ण अपने फॉस्टर पेरेंट्स नंद और यशोदा के पास गए, एंड विथ फोल्डेड हैंड्स उन्होंने कहा कि अभी वो वक्त आ गया है कि बलराम और मुझे वापस मथुरा में जाना है, लेकिन आप दुखी ना रहे, बिकॉज हमें अपना जो कर्म है वो करना है। द रीजन विच आई हैव कम हियर, आई हैव टू परफॉर्म, सो आई हैव
Yes.
टू गो बैक टू मथुरा। तो मथुरा वापस चले गए। बैक इन मथुरा, वसुदेवा, जो सब हम जो भारतीय पेरेंट्स हैं हमारे जैसे, उन्होंने भी सोचा कि now it is the time for Krishna and his brother Balarama, they need to go to school, they need to go to a gurukul, and they decided to send them to ऋषि सांदीपनी's ashram. तो ऋषि सांदीपनी को क्यों चुना गया? तो ऋषि सांदीपनी के बारे में कुछ तो खास बात रही होगी कि that he was chosen to be the guru of the supreme being in his Krishna avatar. Now, it is believed that Rishi Sandipani's Gurukul is located in, that time it was known as Avanti, nowadays, the present time, Ujjain.
उज्जैन।
हाँ, and आप में से कुछ लोग गए होंगे. I have not gone there, though it is my wish to go and see the place. तो अभी we just observed Teachers Day, and इसीलिए मैंने सोचा कि that I must speak about the Jagat Guru's Guru. Correct? It is appropriate to ponder and dwell upon who was the Jagat Guru's Guru. तो गुरु सांदीपनी के बारे में थोड़े स्टोरीज है, लेकिन इतने पॉपुलर नहीं है, पॉपुलर लिटरेचर में नहीं मिलते। बट उसमें से मैं एक छोटी सी कहानी बताऊंगी इन ब्रीफ। जब सांदीपनी खुद एक शिष्य थे, कहा जाता था कि वो इतने ब्राइट स्टूडेंट नहीं थे, लेकिन एंटायर जो पूरे गुरुकुल में सबसे आज्ञाकारी, मेहनती और कंशियस स्टूडेंट जिसे कहते हैं, बस वो सांदीपनी थे। उन्होंने अपने गुरु के प्रति एक अटूट विश्वास के कारण बिना कोई किसी प्रश्न के अपने गुरु के निर्देशों का पालन किया। So, I mean, he used to follow the instructions even if it did not make sense. He was such a conscientious student. So much so that he had become a butt of jokes with the other students. So time went by. तो दिन बीतते गए और छात्र अपने अपने पेशा अपनाने के लिए गुरुकुल छोड़कर निकल गए। और जो गुरु थे सांदीपनी के, वो भी वृद्ध हो गए थे, एंड ही वाज ऑन हिज डेथ बेड। तो जब शिष्य सबको मालूम पड़ा, they came back to pay their last respects, when he was ill and he was on his deathbed. सब आए, and the guru wanted to give the shishyas something that belonged to him. So सबको कुछ ना कुछ अपनी जो चीज थी देना चाहते थे। तो कुछ लोगों को किताब or whatever, किताब या था कि नहीं, but something parallel to that, जो भी था वो दिया। कुछ लोगों को अपना जो पूजा के वेसल्स है वो दिया, जो जपमाला, एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ। जब सांदीपनी की बारी आई, वो गुरुजी के पास कुछ नहीं था। तो सांदीपनी सेड, आई डोंट वांट एनी मटेरियल पोजेशंस, मुझे कुछ नहीं चाहिए, सिर्फ आपका आशीर्वाद आप मुझे दें, आई एम गोइंग टू बी वेरी हैप्पी। तो गुरु वॉज सो प्लीज्ड and blessed him. As it is, he knew from his Gurukul days that even though he may not be the smartest or the brightest, his heart was so pure, and the trust which he put in his Guru was so strong, that itself made him a very special person. So the Guru blesses him and says, please go home, set up your own Gurukul where you can share the knowledge that you have learnt in this Gurukul. And ek din, the Paramatma himself will come as your student. And that was his blessing. So Krishna and Balarama attended his Gurukul. And usse jada, what blessing does a teacher need? Right?
Absolutely.
When the God himself and the Supreme Being himself comes to gather knowledge in your Gurukul, what more can one teacher? And it is true even today, isn't it? What does a teacher want? He wants conscientious students. He doesn't want terribly smart students. He wants students who are true to themselves, who want the welfare of the world and all that, isn't it? So Lord Krishna and Balarama served the Gurukul very well and learnt all the vidyas. Now, उस जमाने में the number of vidyas that they had to learn, that आजकल के जो syllabus है is actually nothing. They learned the four Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva, the subsidiary Vedas, Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Gandharva Veda, that is music, Shilpa Shastra, all the Puranas, Mimamsa, Nyaya, Dharma Shastra, and with that all those grammar, phonetics, the chand, every mantra has a particular chand, the meter, that
Yes.
astronomy, astrology. So if you thought that today's syllabus is elaborate, please think again. But Krishna and Balrama were like the sun and the moon, like they were grasping everything just like that. And soon it was time for them to leave. And they asked Guru Sandipani what dakshina he wanted. Guru Sandipani said, as a teacher, the greatest dakshina is to have good students, like I just said. However, all I ask you is that even if you find one or two good and worthy students, spread the message or the knowledge of life or anything else that you have learnt in my Gurukul. बस उन्हें और कुछ नहीं चाहिए था, नो
Such a
दक्षिणा।
beautiful.
ही जस्ट सेड, एक दो अगर शिष्य मिल जाए जो आपसे सीखना चाहें, वही काफी है, and you spread the message. लेकिन सांदीपनी's वाइफ जो गुरुमा थी, उनको मालूम था कि एक स्टूडेंट का, एक शिष्य का लाइफ कंप्लीट नहीं होता ना जब तक वो गुरु दक्षिणा दे।
Yes.
And she said, but she asked for an impossible dakshina. She's asked, they had a son, Sandipani and Guruma. Their son, Punardatta, he had gone near the ocean near a religious place called Prabhasa. And वहाँ पर जाकर, the ocean had taken him and he had drowned. And उससे बहुत ही दुखी थे both parents. One and only one son, and without that son, they were very sad. and she asked Krishna to get his life back. I mean, Dakshina mange to kya mange? I mean, she gave him an impossible task to do. So, tell you the story in short, there are various versions, alag versions hai in our mythology. But I will tell you one part. So, Krishna went to Lord Varuna, that is a lord of the oceans, and
Yes.
upon his advice, got to know about Shankasura. And he is also known as Panchajanya. So, he was an asura who used to hide in a shank.
Conch, big chunk.
Okay, a conch, yeah. And he got to know that he had held Sandipani's son captive. So there are different versions saying that he had already killed the son and the son had reached Yamalok. There's another version which says that Krishna and Balaram captured that shank with the Shankasura hiding there and took him to Yama to blow out the Asura. And so from there, the Asura came out, and the son Punardatta was saved and taken back to the parents. Another version says that he was already killed, but the Krishna and Balarama killed Shankasura, and what was left was only the conch, and that was the Panchajanya. And thereon, when they went to Lord Yama and asked him for the life of Punardatta back, which is against the law of nature.
Yes.
But here was a supreme being asking, for Guru Dakshina. So how can there was an argument between, Yama and Chitragupt and all that. But in the end, Punardatta life was given back, and Krishna and Balarama, they performing, they did they completed the request for the Guru Dakshina. So that is the story of Sandapani Maharaj, Rishi, and how he shaped the teenage Krishna and Balarama.
Yeah.
So, and that conch, the Panchajanya, Brahma asked him to blow it. He blew it, and it is said that is the sound of the conch, that when you hear a sound of the conch, you can think of Achyuta. Achyuta is another name for Krishna. And that liberates the worst sinner, they say. And that is the position of the Panchajanya in our scriptures. And just to go back to what Sandipani Guru had asked him, he says, no, that even one or two students, if you get, please spread the message, right? I just told you. And it literally happened that way, that we know that Lord Krishna actually taught the knowledge directly to Arjuna, the
बिल्कुल.
Pandava. And that is वो जो है भगवद गीता, जहाँ पर वो अर्जुन को, I mean, he explains the duties as a warrior, prince, and जैसे आपने पहले ही बोला कि नहीं, don't think of them as relatives. You have to do your duty and go and fight the battle. And he elaborates on the yogic and Vedantic philosophies. So the Bhagavad Gita was said to Arjuna. And through that, we all know, okay, through that one student, we all got to know the immense, beautiful knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. Secondly, when it was time for Krishna's avatara to end, and he had to go back to his Vaikunta, Uddhava, his very dear Yadava friend, he was full of sadness. There is a story that the Yadu race and the Yadu community was going to be, that curse was there. I will not go into that story, but the entire community would be vanquished and annihilated. So Uddhava, he was very sad. And so it was then that Krishna also gave the Uddhava Gita to his friend. And उसमें भी उन्होंने spirituality के बारे में, religion, the laws of nature, code of conduct, discipline, different paths of enlightenment, और क्या, the bhakti के बारे में, and the mind as the root cause of all miseries, and several such topics he touched upon, and that is Uddhava Gita. So bus दो students he had, and through those two students and the expositions, the entire world got to know the knowledge through the treatises of Sri Vedavyasa, right? Vedavyasa put it into writing,
Yes.
and so we all know about the two Gitas. So that is why let us bow our heads to the Jagat Guru, Lord Krishna, and also in reverence to Guru Sandipani on this very, very auspicious day of Krishna Janmashtami, and also the Teachers' Day, which just went by. And before I really conclude, I would just say, if everybody is fond of traveling or visiting pilgrimage places, like I mentioned, that the ashram is in near Ujjain. It is in a place called Ankapata, and
Yeah.
apparently it is there where Krishna washed his writing tablets. And in fact, apparently the numerals 1 to 100 are found inscribed on a stone there to this date. And it is said that Guru Sandipani himself has written that. And near the ashram is the Gomti Kund, and it's a tank where Krishna has supposedly summoned all the holy waters from the various centers, so that his Guru Sandipani need not travel to far off places. So I think it is a beautiful account of the bond and the love between a guru and shishya, and it is that itself is like an example for all of us on what a relationship between a teacher and a student should be. And I think this relationship changes the way we uh, gain knowledge, and how much knowledge we retain. So it is the responsibility, I think, of every teacher to have that trust, and in students, and also for all the students to have that trust back, give that trust back, and the respect back to our teachers. And it is a very, very a bond that is so special, which cannot be it's a very, very क्या बोलते हैं, pure bonding, right?
बिल्कुल.
So yeah, so this is what we should keep in mind. And you know and both teachers and students, and we are lifelong learners,
Yes.
and we have to see the guru in each other. We have to learn from each other with humility. That humility is so important. Once you think that you know everything, you stop learning. And with that, I think this is what I needed to share today, Ila. I hope uh, the audience and you also,
बिल्कुल.
this is what you expected, and I hope I met your
Every time,
expectations.
every time I have a conversation with you. Today we are online, but otherwise we are always conversing on a one-to-one basis. Also, every time there is so much to take away from you. So I consider you as one of my gurus. And during our conversation, Mukesh Bhatnagar ji is watching this live today, and he said that had the great fortune of visiting Avantika twice. He has been to the
Oh,
ashram twice, and he has also
blessed.
written that three students from Mathura came to Avantika: Krishna, Balram, and Sudama, and they
Ah,
reached
correct,
Avantika. It took them 67 days to reach there, but
correct.
Krishna learned the teachings in 64 days.
Yeah,
जो
correct,
64 कलाएं सिखाई गई थी वो 64 दिन में उन्होंने सीख ली थी.
correct.
और
He is very right. That is what they say.
अमेजिंग,
Don't lie.
अमेजिंग.
Yeah.
एंड टू
Thank you
थिंक
for that, Mr.
एंड
Bhatnagar.
टू थिंक ऑफ इट कि गुरुकुल में, right from the art ऑफ, मतलब आपको आर्चरी सिखाना, हॉर्स राइडिंग सिखाना, वॉर की प्लानिंग कैसे करनी है, वहां से लेकर स्पिरिचुअलिटी के बारे में बताना, म्यूजिक सिखाना, एक एक एस्पेक्ट जब एक ही गुरु स्टूडेंट्स को सिखाता था, कितनी हमारी कंट्री, हमारा देश कितना शुरू से समृद्ध है.
Right. Right.
एंड sadly, because of the changing dynamics, we have been losing it. But still, all hope is not lost, because we have people like Mukesh Bhatnagar ji and so many of our audiences who are here, who have been very patiently listening to what Sangeeta has to say today. And Sangeeta, जब हम एक दूसरे के अंदर गुरु देखते हैं, जैसा अभी आपने बोला, और वो हमारे अंदर एक जो भूख होती है निरंतर कुछ ना कुछ सीखने की, वो ही हमें जिंदा रखती है. इट कीप्स अस अलाइव. द डे आवर क्वेस्ट एंड्स, I suppose that is the end of life also.
Absolutely.
So on
Absolutely.
on that note, I'd like to pay my immense gratitude to you, Sangeeta, and my gratitude to all our audiences. मुझे पता है जन्माष्टमी की तैयारी में सब लोग लगे हैं, कोई झांकी सजा रहे होंगे, कोई प्रसाद बना रहे होंगे. अभी बहुत लोगों ने आज नहीं हमको ज्वाइन किया, बट yes, tonight or maybe tomorrow and in days to come, our audiences, they will watch this and they will find value in our conversation. I'm very sure of it, because Motherhood Club always strives to bring to you something unique, something different, and something that matters to each of you. So on behalf of Team Motherhood Club, once again, I thank you, Sangeeta. Immense gratitude to you. Jai
Thank you
Shri,
so much for
Jai Shri
having me.
Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna. Hari Om.
Thank you. Hari Om.